Picture right here in the center. This is the people, or the monument to the people's heroes. And this is just a couple pictures of the places I just mentioned within Tiananmen Square. And then here's a couple pictures from the flag raising ceremony. The ceremony is supposed to be pretty impressive. They have Chinese military honoring the guards that march, and then they raise the flag. And I checked out the flag schedule because everywhere I looked at was recommending to go check this out. So if we do decide to do it, the unfortunate thing is we would have to get up at the crack of dawn because it begins at about 5 o'clock in the morning. And from what I've read, people start to get there well before 5 if we want to get a good position. But it's supposed to be pretty neat, so it might be worth checking out.
In fact, we will have one free day in Beijing, so if you guys would like to go and explore it, you can do it.
And then, of course, the Great Wall of China is a must-see sight. Here's a short little video.
Get your cash back. Chase freedom.
Guess you don't get to see on the screen.
Is taking 4,000 miles across its northern frontiers. The Great Wall of China is one of mankind's most extraordinary achievements. Originally, there wasn't one wall, but a series of separate ones, with a total length of more than 35,000 miles. End to end, they would stretch nearly 1.5 times around the planet. Construction of these walls began more than 2,000 years ago, under the country's first emperor, a ruthless tyrant after whom China was named, the Emperor Chen. The walls were constructed on the harshest terrain on Earth, over sheer mountain ridges, across unforgiving deserts, and to the very edges of the Chinese Empire. The emperors in Beijing had good reason to build these walls. The Mongols were the greatest horseback warriors the world has ever known, and they attacked China repeatedly. With the Mongols growing in strength and the attacks becoming more frequent, the Chinese realized that the original walls were not enough. So, during the 15th century, they built a single wall. Millions were employed on it, and millions would die, leading some to call this the longest raid in the world. Within 15 years, workers had sealed off the whole of the country's northern frontier. China stood safe behind what they called Chongcheng, or the Long Wall. Today, the wall has become a symbol of China, and a focal point of Chinese identity. Featured on products from groceries to insurance, it is also facing the greatest threat of its 2,000-year existence. The protection of China is no longer an issue, but protection of the wall is, as time, tourism, and neglect all take their toll.
So that was a little bit on the history of the Great Wall. And I found a couple different measurements on the length of the wall itself. I guess some people argue that it's about 5,500 miles, and others say that it's under 5,000. I guess they all just measure it differently. But while we're in Beijing, 373 miles of it actually passes through Beijing, so we'll have quite a span to choose from. And I'm not going to even try and say those names, but those are the sections of the wall that we will have access to in Beijing. And here's a little map of all the sections of the wall, and those two, Huacheng and Jia Cao, are supposed to be the toughest, I guess. They have really steep peaks and broken bricks everywhere, and there's also no water available. I guess other portions that are visited more often have like vendors selling water and stuff on the wall itself. Another place that we need to see is definitely the Beijing National Stadium, also known as the Bird's Nest. And this was the home of the 2008 Beijing Olympics. The Bird's Nest cost around $423 million. And here's a picture of the inside of the stadium. And this is inside of here. It housed track and field, soccer, weight throw, and discus. Since the games, they've used the stadium for quite a few different uses. They actually even filled it up with snow in 2009, I believe, and possibly 2010 as well, and turned it into a winter theme park. And you can see the pictures of the snow there. But today it's mainly used as a tourist attraction, and it still holds some athletic events and concerts. This is gonna, I guess it costs about $8 to get in, about 50 yuan. So I think we should definitely check that out. The stadium itself holds 91,000 seats. It actually has a 4-star hotel with 80 rooms in it, and has gourmet restaurants and views that I guess you can't pass up. And then there's also a twin-level underground shopping center below it. All right, transportation. Lou touched on this the other day when he spoke about China, so some of this might be reiteration. But bicycles are a main mode of transportation over in China. And I found this quote online where they said, if China is the bicycle kingdom, Beijing is no doubt the king of the empire. So I guess we're going to see a lot of bikes while we're there in Beijing. Well, I guess we'll just see bikes everywhere in the street. And then also, in addition to that, there's Beijing Transportation Smart Card, which allows you to use the subway, city buses, and taxis. Professor Liu also touched on some of this stuff the other day, and the Chinese like to see that you put effort in towards learning their language, so it is nice to try to learn a few words. Another thing that I found interesting was that if somebody gives you a business card, to kind of handle it with care, because they take it personally, to take the time and read it there right in their presence, and make sure that you put it away while they're still there and they see you put it away safely into your wallet.
Yeah, in fact, that's very, very important, because whenever they present the business card to you, they will give you with both hands something like that. And you need to receive it with both hands. So don't keep it like this. Then read it and then carefully keep it in your hands or in your pocket. So you need to give a lot of respect to the business card as well. And you will also notice that on their business cards most of the time, they also have their pictures. That's very common.
Another thing, I think we may have mentioned this, but you got to keep your chopsticks together and sideways on your plate. Don't just stick them in the top of your rice or anything like that, standing up. And then Lou, what I was reading online, everyone was saying when bargaining to start with about 25% of the asking price, but Lou said 10%, so I'd go with 10%. That's it. Is there any questions?
Great. Thank you.